Hey, welcome back to another episode of Midnight Blue and Gold Launchpad Podcast. I am Kyle W., joined tonight by Dan Rocketman Savage.
I am
PJ Spiller.
I am PJ Spiller.
And Nate the Texas Rocket.
How's it going, everybody?
So Ryan wanted to jump on, but it's a little bit easier to have 4 windows on Zoom. It gets a little cramped with 5, so I'm sorry to deprive you of Rocket Ryan tonight, but he volunteered to stay off, so we'll wing it, right, boys?
Yeah, I'll get it done.
So coming off a big home win against Ball State, big win for Toledo Volleyball, big win today for Toledo men's basketball. You know, things are rolling right now, boys.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a bad weekend to be a Cardinal from Ball State because the football team took care of them pretty solid. And in the semifinals, the women's volleyball team beat the Cardinals. There wasn't a lot of chirping coming out of Muncie.
Not much to chirp about.
Exactly.
So, Pat, you want to explain? You were featured last week as a guest on a Ball State podcast.
Yeah, I was on the Ball State of the Union podcast as a guest representing our little podcast here. And the guys were great. They were really surprised by the fact that everything we are good at is their weakness. So it was kind of cool talking to those guys. Willie Sneed, of course, a 12-year veteran of the NFL, was one of their co-hosts. And he's a constant co-host. And they had nothing but great things to say about Toledo, and I kind of gave it back to them, you know, saying we respect all their programs. In fact, I was enrolled at Ball State originally before Toledo. But, when I got down there for orientation, they changed my major to a minor, so I was like, I'm out of here right in the middle of orientation.
Happy to sad, right, in music terms.
What's that?
I said happy to sad in music terms. Major to minor.
Exactly. But, you know, the guys said that could have had a whole different dynamic effect on the podcast world if I would have gone to Ball State. So they were a good bunch of guys, and they were expecting to get throttled in football. So, you know, it was a nice outcome on Saturday. We went to the game for a little bit. And what are your guys' thoughts on the football game?
Well, I think we'll roll into that deeper in the episode, but I think we wanted to start off with volleyball. Huge win over the weekend, MAC champs, and Dan's got some news on where they're going to end up eventually. So
we'll see what we don't know. It's still bracketology season.
I mean, we're not there yet. It's Dan's prediction here.
Okay.
When is the selection show?
Sometime in the middle of this week. We'll probably just miss it because of when this episode comes out. So as of this weekend, after we did take care of business and win the MAC title, they said that we would be playing the 3 seed in West Lafayette, the Purdue Boilermakers. And, you know, it only has the bracket 1 through 4 seed, and then the rest just fill in because they don't want to be mean and be like, you're the worst team or whatever. But we could have played a 1 seed, and that means we would have been terrible. So I think that we're pretty respected, a 21-10 overall record. I know the schedule was a little bit weak, but if you take out a team like Ball State, that's a huge resume win. And Ball State is an absolute powerhouse in volleyball. And actually at the football game, you know, if you know about the Glass Bowl, the sun hits the one side a lot more. So we went over to the visiting side so we could be in the sun and stay warmer. And I've had a few pops at that point, and I decided to yell, "You're not a football school, you're a volleyball school." And anytime something good would happen, I would just yell, "Volleyball!" And that was before I knew that we played them at 4:00. And I just expected that we were probably going to lose to Ball State. So I was actually being a little bit endearing. And the fact that we ended up beating them in volleyball that night, the people around, they were probably driving on the way back home like, oh, my God, that guy, he really got us where it hurt. Even the volleyball school couldn't take down little old Toledo, winning their first MAC championship ever. Hell of a weekend.
Yeah, it was. And in fact, if you know anything about Big Ten volleyball, the Purdue Boilermakers have always been really good in competition. In fact, they're usually nationally ranked. So if we do face Purdue, I haven't looked into their team at all, but they're usually known for their height, and their outside hitters are very strong.
Well, Zach Eady in the middle is going to be real tough for us to score against.
Yeah,
is he still there?
They recruit him.
No,
I was going to say ninth year senior.
Yeah, he's probably got some
eligibility
left in volleyball.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, Pat, you were there at the championship game. You know, we had to win 3 games in 3 days. We took out the Miami Redhawks, took out the defending champs, the number 1 overall seed, who was 19-1, Ball State Cardinals. Well, 20-1 when we beat them. And then we avoided a match with Bowling Green, who was the host team, and could have also played us in the championship game. Western Michigan, a team that won the tournament the last 2 years. So we had a very tough route to get there. And my God, did the freshmen show up? The defensive player of the year show up? What was the environment like down there at Home Depot South there in Wood County?
Well, yeah, we can call it the Savage Arena South on Saturday, or on Sunday rather. It was great. The pep band was there, the cheerleaders were there, the dance team was there, or a few members of the dance team. The women's tennis team showed up. The women's, I believe, softball team showed up, and we had a ton of fans. I'd say probably maybe around 1,200 UT fans traveled down, and I think Western had maybe, the parents and a few others, maybe if they were lucky, 60, 70, fans in the crowd. Mm-hmm. But it was a fantastic weekend for the women. They started off against Miami, and that was a 5-setter. And then they turn around on Saturday, and they got a 5-setter against Ball State. And then it looked like Sunday against Western, it was going to go 5 sets as well. But I agree with Coach Brian Wright and what he said after the tournament in the press conference. He said this is one resilient team. Their confidence just kept building all season long. And they did have a rather weak preseason conference or pre-conference preseason rather. They had University of Albany and Robert Morris and some teams like that, but they also played Colorado and Arkansas, which was probably a good tune-up getting into the MAC season. Even though they lost those matches, it's great experience playing big teams like that.
Yeah,
it was amazing at just exactly how resilient this team was. We got down in the Ball State match. I believe we were down a set, and they were down like 5 or 6 points in the middle of the 4th set or 3rd set, and came back and win it. And they just keep fighting. There's a great amount of resolve with this team, and it's unusual to see with a first-year coach, a first-year, a few transfers. We have a girl from Turkey on the team, and out of everything, a freshman out of SMCC, Jessica Koslow, was the stud in the finals. My wife actually worked with her father, and she started playing volleyball very young, probably about the age of 5. Also had a sister who went to a private college and played volleyball in Florida. So it's a volleyball family. Jessica Koslow in the final match of the tournament, I mean, she came up with 21 kills and 22 digs, which is incredible. When you have a person that's a great outside hitter and also gets that many digs, she's all over the court, and she was like Spider-Man. She's only 5'11", but she's got some hops. And it was just really cool to see this team fight back. They were down in the fourth set, I believe, at one point 8 or 9 points.
It was like 15-6.
Yeah. And the crowd kind of quieted down. We had an old guy sitting in front of us, probably about 6 rows in front of us, just cranking the crowd up, turning around, yelling TOL and EDO. And Kristen, Kyle's wife, my daughter, leans over to me and goes, "Hey, it looks like somebody took your job." So I had to get a little vocal then and pipe up. So it was a great atmosphere, and it was just amazing to see for the first time in program history, a first-year coach, a freshman being an MVP of the tournament, and they put it all together when it counted, and that was amazing.
Yeah, it was. I was going to say shout out to you because me and you were both on the Twitter, and you were sending the pictures while I was just giving updates of the scores, and it was like perfectly matched up where it was like a consistent feed during the game, which is cool that like you can do that on Twitter. I sat down and watched the whole match on TV. It was loud as hell. It looked amazing, minus their brown court, which good grief. But yeah, we came into the year and we knew little about Coach Wright. We scheduled probably pretty light because he probably didn't have much to do with the schedule at all. And he probably wanted to save face, have a decent record coming into MAC play. And, we'd be lucky if we make the tournament. And that could not be anything further from the truth. Like you said, all the digs. I mean, this team never died. There was the rally when it was 24-24 in that fourth set was just incredible. It was like a 2-minute point. And then the story of the games that I had watched before was I know we were the best team at serves in the league and like not hitting them out. And we had 9 aces to their 2 aces in that final match. And serving was just on point. We didn't give them anything easy. And for someone that still has never been to a volleyball game, man, am I going to be dialed in next year and have to go to a few. Great coach. He seems like he's got an awesome personality.
The girls, phenomenal. The ladies love him, and they love the assistants too. The assistant coach, his name escapes me right now, but when they introduced him for the trophy ceremony, the girls all went nuts. And the female coach, assistant coach, the same thing. Sorry, I don't have those names handy, but
we're new. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, at least I am.
Well, and the great thing is they doubled their attendance this year. We set an attendance record of like 2,400 for for the BG match. You see that, and then you see that the way these girls just kind of came together. This is supposed to be a rebuilding year. They lost Alt last year, who led the conference and set a conference record, I believe, in kills. But you have, that kind of background. I believe Coach Wright was an assistant at Florida, and then I believe he went to, I want to say Tennessee, but that could be wrong. But then he went back to Florida before he got the position here. And when he met with Brian Blair, Brian told him, our athletic director, Brian Blair, told him, we're going to make volleyball a premier sport here at Toledo. And I think he's well on his way to doing that. Just talking a little bit about Jessica Koslow earlier, she was named the conference tournament MVP, which does not happen hardly at all in volleyball for a true freshman. She's a 5'11" outside hitter out of Monroe SMCC, St. Mary's Central Catholic. And she came on this season really strong, and she was lights out the whole weekend. Like I said, she had 21 kills and 22 digs her 8th double-double of the season. That's one of the reasons she got named the most valuable player. We also had sophomore Olivia Heitkamp, who is incredible getting up at the net and just powering the ball down for kills.
It's scary. I would never want to return one of those. She gets so freaking high, and sometimes she does the little like side, just ding over the front line. It's incredible.
She's got some power too, because she I don't know if it was I rewatched the match on ESPN Plus, and I don't know if the camera picked it up, but in volleyball it's called a facial. When she went up for a kill,
she Rocket Ryan for something there.
I know, right? we were missing the dad joke there. Yeah. But a facial is when the hitter goes up to hit the kill, and it goes right between the receiver's hands, hits her right in the face. And I would never want to get hit with a ball from Miss Heitkamp, because it's going to sting. So she had 16, as they call it, terminations instead of kills, which I like. In sophomore libero Grace Freiberger, she had a season high 29 digs on the day, and she's lights out. I mean, she is you can't get anything by her. She was all MAC defensive player of the year, and she was on the all tournament team, as well as Miss Heitkamp and Kelsey Smith. She had 38 assists and 20 digs for her 17th double-double of the season. And the thing is, when you see the girls on the floor, or the ladies on the floor, it's almost like they're interchangeable. Whoever's got the hot hand, they're obviously going to feed her. But that hot hand starts to spread throughout the match. We came out a little bit slow on Sunday, the first match, and got down 4 or 5 points. And we're thinking, oh, you know what? It's maybe that we're going to give up this first one. But I tell you what, we did give up that first one, but they came back. We lost 22-25 in the first set. But we came back just dominating right from the beginning of the second set, which they won 25-16. Then they went 25-21 and 28-26. And like you said, in that fourth set, my God, the teams were really evenly matched. Western is no slouch.
No, they came back from down like match point like 4 different times.
Yeah, and that's why we got up into extra points. And I don't know if anybody out there doesn't know the rules of volleyball. Once you get to 25, you've got to win by 2. So that makes it even more exciting. And then it almost took the crowd by surprise the way that it ended. The last shot was a kill, or it ended up being a kill, but it was an outside hit that the Broncos tried to return but couldn't. It went into the net. The girl tried to dig it out of the net, and it just ended there. And it was so great to see, for the first time in school history, these girls represent the university in a fantastic way.
Yeah, this team, in Savage, you've got the men's basketball banners and the women's basketball banners on each side. And there's one solo white banner for the 2013 team. I believe we won the regular season. Yeah. We're going to have to get another banner that differentiates itself from that one, right up there on the sweet side for 2025. Yeah. And who knows, maybe we'll keep it going. Maybe there's an upset. I mean, we're not small. I'm sure, like you said, Purdue's probably maybe bigger, but anything can happen. This team's rolling with house money right now. Congrats, Coach Wright. If he wasn't Coach of the Year, he should have been. Just an absolutely unbelievable thing from a team that we don't even really talk about on here, but we might have to next fall.
Absolutely. Hopefully we can get Coach Wright on.
Oh yeah.
Sometime in the off season or before the season starts next year. But I don't know, when you rewatch the match, the announcers were saying, and they were pretty fair announcers, trying to keep it balanced. They said Toledo with a 22-10 record is not a great record going into the NCAAs, but like you said, anything can happen, and they'll start next Sunday on November 30th. Hopefully, like we said before the show, that the selection show will be on NCAA.com sometime midweek this week.
Mm-hmm.
But Congratulations to the coaches, everybody. The president was there, Brian Blair was there, and they were honored at the post-game ceremony. And congratulations to the whole team. They did a phenomenal job. And we're dancing, baby.
Yeah, one more thing. Screw ESPN Plus for cutting the broadcast before the ceremony at the end.
Yeah,
I watched the whole game and I was like, I can't watch them except the awards and stuff. Like, what? It was probably BG students running the cameras, though. They probably wanted to get the hell out of there. So, but hey, fucking awesome weekend. In contrast to a few weekends earlier this year when about all of our teams lost in the same weekend, this weekend was a lot better.
Absolutely.
Moving on to men's basketball, we won our game last week against Youngstown State. Team at some pretty good size. We actually kind of kept our pedal to the metal and finished them off with a convincing win there. This men's basketball team is gelling right now, and that's not how I thought I was going to feel after the first week. We mixed up that starting lineup, and Leroy Blyden's been phenomenal. And even today, now Toledo is not a good defensive team. Well, we played the Troy Trojans at 11 a.m. in a tournament down in Fort Myers. Here's the last two scores for Troy. A win at San Diego State, 108-107, and a last-second buzzer-beater loss, the play of the year in college basketball this year, a 107-106 loss to USC.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of that game.
And we beat them 75-68 today and held them to 40% from the field.
You got to love it.
For all the shit talking I do, I'm sure Troy is tired as hell coming from out west, having to go down to Fort Myers, never getting to stop in Troy, Alabama. I don't care. I have to shut my mouth until...
I bet you Coach K is playing all your audio clips from the podcast to fire the team up this year. Listen to what Dan Rocketman said.
Yeah.
No, but on Twitter too, the tides are turning for the fans too. I've seen quite a few people say like, I didn't know what to think at the beginning of the year, and now I'm sold. I'm tuning in.
Are we gonna get hot and then fail miserably again though? Because that's even worse.
Yeah, you don't want that. I mean, TK's always been known for an offensive team, and as showed up against Troy today, maybe Jordan Loft's got a little input into the defense right now because they sure as hell showed up. But to see them fail or start to drop once they get into the MAC season would just be heartbreaking.
Yeah, now I'm excited. This tournament now, because we won, we play Bradley Wednesday at 1:30 in the championship game. Bradley's undefeated. So if we could pull it off, that would be a very huge win. Not just for us, but for the whole conference, who actually has done pretty well this year. Buffalo is undefeated as we speak. Akron, Miami, and Kent are all in the top 25 of the mid-major poll. The only real down team this year is Ohio, and they took our center. So I don't really feel bad for the Bobcats down there with Javon Simmons. So, yeah, hell of a game. Got to do a shout-out to Sonny Wilson. I think he was 12 of 15 from the floor today, 21 points. Great game, and hopefully we win our first tournament in a few years here and take down Bradley.
I just want to follow up on that real quickly. I was impressed with Jalen Owingo's play today, even though he didn't have a great stat line. If you look across, I think he had, what was it, Dan, 5 or 7 blocks?
Yeah, we had a ton of blocks today as a team. Even Sonny had a few. It was a block show.
Go ahead, Nate.
We had 7 total blocks today.
Okay. Yeah, Winga had 8 points. His career high is, I believe, 14 or 16 points, which he also did against Troy last year. So immediately off the bench today, he scored his first 2 times he touched the ball. and it just seems like for whatever reason he gets up for Troy. So
the Trojans.
The big thing today was Troy's shooting was atrocious. I mean, 3-point, they were 5 for 28, 18%. So, you catch a key team on a cold day, that's never a bad thing either. So,
yeah, it looked like they were playing in somebody's backyard, indoors. It looked like a high school gym. So maybe the sight lines were a little bit off for Troy.
I don't know. I know Blyden hit one from the logo. He was like 6 yards behind the 3-point line. I was like, holy crap. But it's tough when you're at work. And also, I think the game is on Flow Sports.
Yeah.
So it wasn't an ESPN Plus thing you could just tune in while you're doing stuff. So I caught the game on the radio, and that was all I needed. I was down by 6 at halftime. They had a 13-0 run right before the half, and I was like, here we go. And then immediately as the second half started, we got right back in the game, and we got up by 9. So quick turnaround for a very young team. They're going to take their lumps this year, but proud of what I'm seeing at least the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, for a bunch of newcomers, great progress.
Yep. And on the other coin, flip side of that coin is the women's basketball team, who's also very young, but they're not looking great. Nate, did you get to catch the 11 a.m. tip last week against Northern Kentucky?
Yeah, I did. I didn't get. I watched the first half, and then I watched part of the third, and I had to do something. But I just feel like there's just points where like this team's offense just gets kind of stagnant. I don't. That's kind of what they want to run, but they just miss the fast break, and then I don't know. I just feel like the offense this year is struggling. I think that's their struggle point.
I just don't know, because last year when the 3 kind of went cold, we were able to go inside, and obviously we don't have the height this year, so I'm not really sure what the adjustment's going to be with this. There's a ton of new faces this year on who steps up where, and where our strengths are if our hot hands go cold.
We have a decent amount of guard height, but Diala in the middle is only like 6'1", 6'2". Evan Carrier, she's not playing a ton right now, maybe 5-10 minutes a game. And she's tall in the middle, but she's not very beefy. The same with Lizzie Puat. They're a little thin. So that's good if you're trying to run, which I know that's what, coach is trying to do. But right now, there's been a lot of one-on-one. It seems like Faith Fed Robinson's kind of creating her own offense. But I don't know if we don't know the plays really well right now. But again, just another terrible 3-point shooting game. Yeah. And like Eva Cole last year, she's tall too. She plays that 3-4 hybrid, but she would jump out and hit some threes. This year, she's like hardly taking them. Like the only person that we can really rely on to shoot the 3 is Kendall Carruthers, and it seems like she has her hands full bringing the ball up the court. Cadence Dykstra hasn't been, super good this year yet. Kendall Braden hopefully is back soon. But we had won 23 straight against the Horizon League, and we lost to a winless team down there in Northern Kentucky, and that's not a really good look. Really, the game came down to the fourth quarter. We lost 9-21, and I think we maybe had 2 points in the last 5 minutes of the game where we lost it. So
I think Northern kind of snuck up on them. They do have a girl from Mount Notre Dame in Cincinnati who scored, I believe, 2,800 points in her career. And she was expected to go to a larger school, and she instead stayed home. And her name escapes me again right now. But I think that was a big point. I believe she was their leading scorer. So, yeah, we usually handled the Horizon Leagues, but I think, as we move along in the pre-max season, Coach Ginny's just trying to get all the pieces in place. I believe it's Alexa Hostevar is a guard at 6'1". Like you said, we've got some height, but she was injured for a couple games earlier in the season. And like you said, if we get our guard play in order, I think we can be able to run the plays a lot better than they have been.
Exactly, and we've had some nice moments where we'll get like a steal and then go coast to coast, and then we like miss a bunny, and then we just get all out of sorts, and it just seems like it's not totally clicking yet. But I don't know. I kind of give the women a little bit more grace than I do to the men, especially with the turnover. I mean, you lost 5 pretty much Hall of Famers last year, so we'll see. They get, I think, Youngstown State this week on Wednesday. It's a 6:30 tip down there in Penguinville. So hopefully we bounce back there. I think Youngstown State's pretty athletic.
Yeah, they are.
All right. Now to the meat and potatoes of the episode as we approach Thanksgiving. Ball State recap. Toledo, with that 38-9 win, covered for the 6th time in a row this year at home. We won by an average of 38 points per game in the Glass Bowl this year. Like, just a juggernaut. So I really hope some of these old fans that buy season tickets, they're off social media. They don't even know people don't like Jason Candle, and they just think we're the best team in the world. Because if you watch us play at the Glass Bowl, it's incredible. We just dominated from start to finish. Kyle, Pat, you guys were in the stands. What did you see there from the cold home side?
With the matchups that Michigan and Ohio State had, I was expecting a few more in the stands than what we saw. It was cold on that home side once that sun went away. I was regretting not bringing gloves. I was pretty cold, but just an amazing win. I just thought the defense was locked down, which is what we expected. They gave up one big play, like we always. I mean, it was a trick play too. It was that flea flicker. But we say that every episode, they're probably going to give up one trick play where we're like, what were you thinking? But it is what it is. All outside of that, the rest of the game, they were straight locked down, which love to see. I couldn't even pick a defensive player this week. So many guys just stepped up and kicked ass. So huge home win to keep us alive for Detroit.
Yeah, I agree with all those points. My big takeaway, I mean, it was nice to see Tucker get out and throw for 4 touchdowns. He was on point. They brought in Osborne, I believe, in the third, midway through the third, to give Tucker some downtime. But again, the defense, my God, we had set a school record for 17 TFLs, tackles for loss. They were just swarming to the ball. I mean,
huge shout out to Hit Stick McNeil Warren. He had a few where I was like, is that Troy Polamalu out there? Holy shit.
Yeah. I don't know if there was any scouts in the box this week, but if they were, they had to be impressed with him and with Vander Ross on the offense.
Yeah, that punt block was awesome too.
Oh, yeah, he had a block punt. He was also on the coverage team on kickoffs and punts, and he was the first man down right in the guy's face every time. And also, he caught 7 passes for $127. So you have that kind of a performance, it's going to impress some people. Even though, he doesn't have the great height and great stature, but he's your go-to guy. I mean, in every situation. He ended up with 127 yards. Chet Trainum had a hell of a game. He led the rushing attack with 128 yards on 15 carries. I think he averaged something like 8.9 yards a carry. Because we were sitting there in the first half, and I'm like, get that average over 10. Get that average over 10. Because he was busting off 18 and 20-yard runs.
I believe Chip is co-offensive player of the week for the MAC.
Yes. Exactly right.
Also, huge shout out to Ryder Treadway, another touchdown for a freshman. He's looking promising, isn't he, boys?
He might be the man next year.
And he's tall, too. He's like 6'1", 6'2". He looks like Cody Thompson out there a little bit.
He does, for sure.
Also, shout out to us, because our handicap of this game was absolutely perfect. I mean, everybody was kind of right around the score. Kyle Kelly obviously was their whole entire offense. Yeah. I don't know if the Ball State guys would disagree that you were on the podcast with, Pat, But I mean, we just totally nailed him down. We said if we stop him, we're good. And it sucks for him because he had to make every single play.
Yeah,
and when he would get out, and he may have some like 11-yard rushes, but when it's 3rd and 26, it doesn't really matter. And because you got sacked on the previous 2 plays, like I feel bad for him. That offensive line is absolutely terrible at Ball State, or our defensive line is the best in the nation, probably somewhere in between.
Well,
hey, speaking of offensive line, shout out for ours. Only 1 sack led up the entire game. Chip Trainum ran where he wanted to. It was a great game for them.
Yeah.
If you look at this,
plus they kept Voorhees to 3 tackles, no sacks, and I mean that dude is 10.5 this year, so they kept him in check.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the defensive stats this week that came out, we are number 1 in the nation against the pass, just ahead of Indiana in 2nd and Ohio State in 3rd. I believe it's like a 0.2, 0.3 difference between 3 teams, but we're number 1 in the nation. And we're number 3 in the nation in overall yardage per game and points given up at home. I think we're averaging between 3 and 7 points a game given up all season. You have that kind of defensive effort. I mean, we've got to put some cash in Vince Karras's pockets to keep him here. Because I have a feeling in this offseason, a lot of teams are going to be coming after him.
He's the most sought after coordinator in the MAC for sure.
Oh,
probably top 5 coordinators from the group of 5 overall. If he wants a job, he'll get one. And I've said this about many players, even possibly transferring or whatever. Just stay out of the MAC, coach. Or if Jason Candle finds his way somewhere, we'll gladly take Vince Karras as the head coach. He's got that Mount Union pedigree. He's done it before. He's won national championships. He's phenomenal. And the amount of defensive recruits that we're getting over our peers, if you call that a resource for Toledo, putting guys in the NFL, we are doing that at a high clip. And there's probably 7 guys on that defense I could see finding their way at least to an undrafted free agent at some point. And that includes, like, we got even younger guys like Braden Alls, who's only been in the program for 2 years, and he already looks like an NFL prospect. So
absolutely leading the nation in interceptions.
Yep, can't bitch about this defense 1 iota. Look, I'd like you to parrot what you guys said about the crowd. The student section was pathetic. That's like embarrassing. Sorry, Rocket Ryan. November games in the Glass Bowl, no matter what day it is, the crowds are probably going to suck. So, oh well. We didn't need the fan support. Also, shout out to Ball State. They kind of brought a lot. They brought way more than anybody else has to the Glass Bowl this year.
All right, so let's get to the players of the game. I'm going to go with, on offense, let's start there. I'm going to go with Vandeross. Again, he's Mr. Everything for the offense, 127 yards receiving, block punt on defense, special teams stud. So that's my guy on offense.
All right, I'm going to go, I think there's a couple guys that deserve it, but I'm going to go Tucker Gleason just because in the last 2 games, early in the games, he's thrown interceptions and bounced back. And that was the thing that he didn't do in our 4 losses. It's just 4 touchdowns and 2 picks. That's still a pretty good stat line. And I think Ball State does have a formidable defense. After all, they held us to lowly 38 at home, which was our worst effort of the season at home. So, shout out to Tucker having some thick skin, and we're going to need it Saturday up in Mount Pleasant.
What you got, Nate?
Well, you mentioned it earlier, Kyle, but I'm going to go with the O-line. I always love shouting them out, so I'm just going to go with the whole O-line unit. Great game from them.
I'll cover our bases and then agree with the MAC. I'm going to go Chip Trainum. Dude,
there you go.
Dude looked NFL caliber on Saturday.
Absolutely. It was a tough call between Vandeross and Trainum for me, but he showed up and showed out.
All right, defensively, I'll get it started. There's so many guys on that damn D line I could choose from. I'm going to go back-to-back weeks. Martez Pointer, 1.5 sacks. He was fourth in the team in tackles. I just like a guy with a single digit on the D line. What can I say?
I'm going to go with Kavion or Kavon. I've heard it called both ways. Sherman. He had 8 tackles and 3 tackles for loss. He was all over the field. He's my guy on defense.
What you got, Nate?
Pat, you stole mine. Yeah, I'm going with Kayvon Sherman. It's a phenomenal game. He's just been consistent all year and just makes plays. So I'm going Sherman as well.
I'm going to give some love to Eshawn Carter. Also had a sack and a half and 7 tackles. Great game from him. But like you guys said, you could have picked maybe 4 or 5 guys out of this list, and nobody would have argued. McNeil Warren had a great game. Apollonia had a great game.
Yep.
We didn't mention them, so it was just an all-around great effort.
McNeil Warren had 8 tackles and 2 tackles behind the line of scrimmage. So for a safety coming up, that's a pretty damn good game.
Yeah. Those 2 tackles behind line of scrimmage was, oh, damn, hits.
Yeah. Oh, we heard the pads
he-
popping, with 40 rows up.
Yep.
Yeah. And then special teams, I know Jason Kendall gave it to Vanderos because he had the block punt. He also had a 26-yard kickoff return when they tried to keep it away from Rudolph. I'm going to go Bryson Hammer just for the fact that every time a team punts to us, I can stand up and get ready for it. And he had another 30-yard punt return this week before halftime. He's just amazing. And it's that's not a part of the game you get excited for normally. So for like the 8th time out of 11 weeks, I'm gonna go Bryson Hammer.
Yeah, I mean he's up for the I can't remember the name of the award. It's for the best walk-on turned scholarship player. I believe he's in the semifinals of that award this year. So I mean, you got a guy like that he can just flip the field. You got something special.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah,
so
I was gonna go Vanderos, but I honestly think his offensive performance outweighed the block punt, which is crazy to say, but dude's a stud. We haven't mentioned him too much this year, but I'm gonna go Cunanan. He had a 46 and he was perfect on extra points.
He's been nailed. He's been great.
Absolutely.
You took I was going to go with Cunanan with the 46 long. Good to see. You never know when we're going to need a kicker. So,
The Ball State's kicker, I couldn't figure out. He missed like a 30-yard chip shot, and then he hit like a 40-plus. I was like, he's just keeping us on our toes. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, he missed the PAT too. He's the reason they didn't cover.
Oh man.
It should have been 38-13, but hey, I'll take it.
Yeah, put that on the kid. Who cares?
Well, this is the last week of the season, so we got max standings to talk about. There's still somehow like 5 teams alive for this damn thing. Everybody needs somebody else to do something different. There's even a chance at a 4-way tie if us, Miami, Ohio win and Western Michigan loses their rivalry against Eastern. In most cases, we are in trouble, but the same things that we need from last week and the week before apply. We need an Ohio or a Miami loss, and we need to win, and we will find ourselves in Detroit, hopefully against the Broncos, because I want a rematch against them.
Yeah, we definitely need that. And you want to take a quick look at bowl projections?
Yeah. Kind of similar what it's been all year. Idaho Potato Bowl, UNLV, and Arizona Bowl versus Fresno State. I know I did mention to you guys, and I'd be curious to see if anyone wants to chirp us on Twitter and let us know. They play there was a couple projections for Penn State to go play in the Detroit Bowl, the game above bowl. And I don't know, I just thought that'd be a good, I'd want to play Penn State if I was in Toledo, just because I feel like that's a good test. Like, that's a good win. I feel like we have actually a good win percentage against Big Ten teams. We beat Michigan. We beat
Penn State?
yeah. I mean,
Penn State, Purdue,
yeah,
Arkansas.
So
SEC too. That works. Yeah,
as the overall the college football fan, obviously you follow Penn State a little bit, Nate. They are playing a game against Rutgers, and the winner gets to go to a bowl, and the loser stays home.
Listen,
How great
Penn
is
State,
that for Big Ten?
Penn State would be a tough matchup though, because I think I heard a stat where they were like legit 8 snaps away from being 9-2 this year. 8 snaps.
That's why I want that matchup. That's why I want that. I like it when Toledo plays against better competition because it just shows how good, especially with our defense this year. I would love to see them against a team like Penn State. I would love that.
But guess who's sitting out? If we're playing Penn State, how many Penn State guys are opting out, and how many of our guys are staying to play one more time? I mean, we just saw it in the NFL this weekend with Darius Alexander with 2 sacks on the same field. He raised his draft stock by probably 2 rounds against Pittsburgh in the bowl game last year.
Yep.
The proof is in the pudding that these bowl games matter.
I thought you were going to mention the 2 sacks on Sunday, and I was going to have a bad time.
But he did it in that stadium. How the hell the Fox announcers didn't pull the thick 6 up is just bad commentating, I think. But Penn State is probably a brand that thinks they're a little bit too good for the Game Above Bowl. I could see them going to like the Pinstripe Bowl and playing in Yankee Stadium or something. I wish we could play Penn State. I just don't have it that high on my list. And especially because CMU and Western are both bowl eligible for the first time in a while. I'm sure the Game Above Bowl would like to have one of those 2 teams represent the city of Detroit. So, if we're not going to play, right up the road here, I'll gladly go play in Frisco, Texas, and meet up with Nate and play an American team. I think we have the chops to stand up against pretty much any Group of 5 team this year.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, a tiny little segue before we get into CMU. I am doing this thing on my Twitter. I'm calling it the FBS NIT, hashtag FBS NIT. After the playoff rankings come out every Tuesday, I'm putting together another 12-team bracket. And this 12-team bracket consists of every champion that does not make the playoff, the 12-team CFP, and they are the 1 through 4 seed. So they get a bye and then to host. This whole tournament would be hosted until the championship game, and then after those teams are filled in of champions, the next are losers of teams of conferences that did not make the bracket. So, for example, North Texas plays Tulane, and Tulane wins the American. North Texas obviously wouldn't get in the CFP. They would be slotted in the next highest spot and down, and then it would lead for a couple at-larges. And you would get teams like Texas going on the road and playing Western Michigan. And I think this would be a phenomenal way to knock out some bowl games and keep 24 teams eligible that had great seasons, won their leagues, and get a chance to host some of these Power 5 cucks that won't fucking ever play us at home. And this shit would be awesome. So if you listen to this podcast, go to my Twitter. There's a new bracket every week. It will never freaking happen. But, man, this bracket would be so sweet for the Group of 5. I really wish that there was a real semblance of not just like a participation trophy or an exhibition after these seasons when damn teams won their league and they get to go to frickin', Baton Rouge and play fucking South Alabama, who's 6-6. I hate that shit. I want to be a part of it, and I don't want a little kids table. I want the teams that were just left out from the SEC to have to come and play us. So follow me on Twitter and give that a like and spread it to all your friends.
Dan, that's my favorite thing you've ever proposed. I'm just going to let you know.
That's a great idea, Dan.
But the executives would never go for it because they wouldn't be able to get enough Texas fans and cameras into the Glass Bowl. But suck my dong.
Yeah, you might have to get with.
It's actually going. It's going the opposite way. The rumor is they'll expand again to 16 teams. And I think you could make an argument, since they expanded to 12, that you really could have got away with just doing an 18 playoff. And you could have done something like Dan just proposed, which would have been very interesting.
Yeah, Dan, I think you might have to get our buddy Alex Shear on board with this. He's good about going after some big dreams. But where do you have the championship game then?
I don't know. It would have to be at a neutral. I think the best place, the mecca of college football, is the Rose Bowl. And I think there's not enough games that are played there that anybody cares about. So I think the Rose Bowl would be a sweet, early February game. But
that'd be nice. My thought is maybe having it somewhere in the middle of like the country, like Kansas City, where the weather will play a factor. And you've got
it outside.
From the South have to come up and play outside in the snow in January or whatever. Make it an even playing field.
I agree. And that's why I wanted to keep it where you would get home games all the way until the finals. Like, a part of this proposal is also getting rid of the 6-6 floor for bowls. I think it should be 6 FBS wins. So you can't be 6-6 and beat an FCS. Then you wouldn't qualify. I think if you do this playoff, you get rid of, shave off 7 or 8 bottom tier bowl games and make it so you have to be 7-5 with an FCS winner, 6-6, and only beat FBS teams. The sport is just a little bit stale. I think adding an NIT would, make some teams have to play a longer season. Imagine if you were USC this year and you're probably going to be 9-3 and you're not going to make the Big Ten championship game. You're not going to make the playoff. But isn't it bullshit that Ohio State and Indiana get to play for another 2 months?
Right.
And how are you supposed to stack up the next year when all these players from Ohio State and Indiana have that many more practices, that much more money opportunity, recruitment? Well, what if Texas or USC also played until early February? Then they have a fast track on getting over the next year. I think there is value to the power teams that were just left out and playing an extra 4 games.
Absolutely. Great proposal. Now let's take a quick look at the Chippewas from Central.
Yeah, we got a little bit long in the tooth in this episode, but a lot of good things to talk about. Pat, I think before the year, you were the one that covered CMU, and we went through our season-by-season projections, and a lot of us had us losing to CMU on the back half of a 10-1 or 11-0 year. And although that might not be true, the one thing that is true is Matt Drinkle has these boys playing in year one, and they got a hell of a defense.
They do, and they've got a good ground game too. Not that they'll be able to replicate that against our defense, but it's something to look out for sure. I think playing up at Central in late November is going to be tough for anybody, but I think this team the Rockets still have a lot to play for. With the MAC championship on the line, no matter what else is happening, I'm sure that the whole attitude is we just have to win out.
Yeah, you mentioned their ground game. They have 4 running backs with over 300 yards on the ground. That's Flores, Biggins, Kornst, and then the guy that I think is the player to watch out for, Brock Townsend. He's got 4 rushing touchdowns and 3 through the air. I believe they have 7 guys who have caught multiple touchdowns, and the wide receivers and running backs. So they are pretty dynamic. They're tough to really single out one guy because they're kind of an offense by committee. Now, I don't think the quarterback's very good. He's only thrown for 1,400 yards, but this is an Army offense.
Flores is their backup QB, isn't he? I'm guessing they throw him in for speed options, stuff like that. Which is why he's leading rusher.
Yeah. They have an offensive coordinator from Army. They're obviously a lot tougher than they have been in years past. They are tough. That's their identity. It's not specific. I mean, they run the ball, but they're not running a triple option. They're still running a base offense, but heavily run dependent on success. And defensively, Jordan Kwiatkowski is one of the best linebackers in this league, the leading tackler. Michael Holdman, which is not a good name for a defensive lineman, has 9.5 sacks. So, man, we might need to hold him. And then they've got 9 guys with an interception. So, like, this team's forced 11 picks this year. Gleason's going to have to maybe have a short memory if he throws one. CMU defense is good. There's going to be nobody at this fucking game because it's the same time as Ohio State and Michigan, which is an absolute travesty for this conference, on ESPN Plus on a Saturday. It's probably going to benefit Toledo because normally, CMU would be up there to beat Toledo for the attendance record in the MAC this year. And for us, they just don't have a crowd because everyone's sitting around watching the Wolverines get stomped. So,
everybody's going to be home on Thanksgiving break too. So, I don't see a lot of bodies in the seats up there.
Pat, did your daughter go to a lot of games up at CMU?
Yeah, she went to every game. She never made it inside the stadium, but
there it is.
We're very proud.
The whole crowd that she hung out with was basically there for tailgating, and then come kickoff, everybody would make their way back home and recover for the night.
I got it. Yeah,
and I think that seems to be a big theme up in Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, I saw on one of their social media posts, they've had 3 good seasons in the last 15 years, according to them. Yeah, it was 2021, they won the Sun Bowl. 2019, they went to the MAC championship game, and then 2009, they won the MAC at 12-2. And in each one of those years, they defeated Toledo. In no other years did they beat Toledo, though. So they've won 3 of the last 14, 16 against us. So It's safe to say that when we're good, we beat CMU as well. That 2019 team was the worst team we've had since 2010. We went 6-6, didn't go to a bowl game. CMU put us out of our misery. Bryant Kovac had a good game, but no one else did. I expect this to be a real barn burner from a team that we probably have rival potential with. CMU's got a big fan base, good student section always. The crowd the stadium looks pretty much exactly like the Glass Bowl, just not quite as historic. This is for all the freaking marbles as long as Ohio or Miami can help us out.
Exactly. And just one quick follow-up note. My daughter has been to more games at the Glass Bowl than she has up at I can't remember the name of their stadium at Central.
Kelly Shorts, yeah. So that tells you even a Chippewa fan, or a Chippewa student respects the Glass Bowl. Heck yeah.
So I was checking out the weather. It's supposed to be 32. They're expecting maybe an inch of snow. So we might get a little snow. Keys to the game here is Gleason. He's got to protect that ball. With the last few games, he's figured it out, but he's also had a few turnovers. And I kind of expect to see maybe a more conservative game plan where maybe we lean on Chip more after this last Saturday against Ball State. I guess we'll see on that. Defense, just do your thing, lock down. I liked what I saw against Ball State. Obviously, their quarterback through the years made some plays with his legs, and I thought they shut him down very well. So we'll see what they do against this 2 QB approach. But it's going to be a close one, and I think it might be lower scoring as well.
That's what I thought too, Kyle. Vegas thinks otherwise. Vegas has this game as a Toledo 10.5 point favorite. Opened up at 8.5, and they're saying about 44.5 total.
It's that.
I consider lower scoring like low 20s for both teams. That's 44.
That's fine.
Yeah. That brings us to our predictions. I'm going to go first. Ryan phoned in his prediction at 21-17. The Rockets on top. I'm going to be kind of close. I'm going to say 28-10. Toledo wins.
I like that. We are the darlings of Vegas. I'm not surprised that for 11th out of 12 weeks, we are favored again. So shout out to fucking MGM Grand and ESPN Bet or whoever. I'm going somewhere in between you guys. I like 28-17. I think it's going to be a slog. I don't expect to be up by more than 14 really at any point in this game. It's just going to be close, nip and tuck, and hopefully we pull away, and hopefully we know. I mean, we're going to know before this game, at least if Ohio has lost or not. We played the exact same time as Ball State and Miami, so we won't really know. But if Ohio wins, CMU is done. So CMU will then be playing for nothing. So there's might be a motivational edge if Friday night we realize that Ohio is right on our heels and then CMU quits. So I don't expect that, though, from a Matt Drinkle team. But CMU has had a great year. I'm happy that they're back near the top of the MAC.
Absolutely. Kyle?
Yeah, so I believe Central's also undefeated at home. They're 4-0, I believe. And this game's got me a little nervous. I'm not going to lie, boys. I think they pull it off, but it's going to be, I'm going to say 24-21 Toledo.
I'm conflicted. Not so much who I think's going to win. I feel like it could be either a high scoring or low scoring. I'm going to go with my first initial gut, though. I'm going to go with a 17-13 win, Toledo.
Okay, so we all see it as kind of a low-scoring game, and
yep.
I believe all of us predicted pretty tight game. So with that being said, are we ready to put a midnight blue bow on this bitch?
We are almost ready, but because we are in the giving season, I want everyone to go around and say one thing they are thankful for. I will start. I'm thankful for Athletic Director Brian Blair coming in, making so many changes, and his terrific volleyball hire of Coach Brian Wright. Could not have done anything better in my eyes in year one. Thank you for Athletic Director Brian Blair.
Well said. I'm going to go with I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for you guys, and I'm also thankful for all of the Rockets athletic programs, and especially Brian Blair. I agree. He's done a great job switching things around and coming up with innovative new ideas, and he's put us on the map, not just in football.
I'm going to go a little more selfish on this, but I am thankful for all the fans and the support we've had over the years doing this podcast. And but I'm going to be a little bit more selfish. We're expecting number 2 in the Smith household, so everything's been happy and healthy so far, and our little ones happy and healthy. So, can't ask for much more.
Heck yeah,
I like it.
Awesome. Yeah. Thankful for my family. Thankful for getting to do this podcast with you guys, and just thankful for that all of us are in good health and continue that trend, guys.
Awesome. Love it.
Matt and Kyle, you guys were not thankful for my turkey sandwiches at the tailgate. I'm disgusted.
They were delicious. In fact, I thought it was chicken at first, but
I had to spice it up.
It was delicious, and it was great to see your pregame tradition of metal thrash entrance into the glass ball.
Hey, we'll keep it going. You just got to play one more in Detroit. It's really fun at the MGM parking lot.
I bet. I'm going to go ahead and change my color, and we're going to go with the midnight blue and gold bow. We're going to wrap it up in that midnight blue and gold. And happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yep. Thank you guys all.
Filler.
I'm Dan Rocket Man Savage.
I'm Nate Texas Rocket.
And
I'm Kyle W.
As always, it's producer extraordinaire Kyle W. on the ones and the twos. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Let's go, Rockets. TOL.
EDO.